Hi everybody, welcome to the stream. I have just lost my co-host or guest today. I don't know where he's gone. Action Figure Grader. He will be, I'm sure he'll be back and click the link. But welcome everybody. This is a sort of double reason stream. It's my birthday week, so yay, happy birthday to me. And yeah, I just wanted to get together with Action Figure Grader and do a bit of a live stream for you guys. So let me see who's in the chat while I wait for him to come back. Let me just find out where he's gone. Sure, I'll come back in a minute. Alicio Bazan, hi mate. Thank you. Clayton Lancaster. Toys of the Jedi. Not bad, Isaac. Thank you. Things are getting a bit better. Shakes the Clone. Jay, my man. Happy day of being birthed. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Biker Scout. Keith Guppy. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, John. How you doing, mate? Good to see you here. Cheers. Yeah, it's this weekend, my birthday, but you know, it's a birthday stream, isn't it? Cheers, Owen. And Jared, hi. Good evening. So I did have a guest on, Action Figure Grader, but as soon as I was about to click live, he's gone. So he might be having some technical issues or something. He does have the link to come back, so we'll just. Oh, here he comes. Let's see if we can get him back. You're back.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, man. It just dropped me. Great start.
You literally left me as we went live. Cheers for that.
Really great start.
Never mind. Right, so we got 40 people watching at the moment, so I'll introduce you now. So if anyone doesn't know, this is John. He is on YouTube as the Action Figure Grader. If you haven't watched his videos, then I really advise that you do. He's a great channel. I've been watching you for, I don't know now, maybe a year, probably. I think I'm not sure how long you've been doing YouTube, but I've definitely been watching about a year. I think I was introduced by the blacked out Ewoks. He mentioned in a few of my comments about your channel, and I think it's because of you having that green Bosk that's just behind you there, the Oratech green Bosk. So that made me check out your channel. So yeah, so everyone, this is John, as I mentioned, Action Figure Grader. So we're going to get to know him on this stream. So first of all, I did want to ask you about, obviously, I think you're my age. So when did you first get into Star Wars, and did you play with these fantastic dollies when you were a kid?
I did, and first, thank you for having me on, and happy birthday. I'm going to give you the same gift that I gave my wife for her birthday last week, and that's my beautiful, melodious voice. So all that being said, it's great to be on, and yes, I did. I mean, I collect. I remember very specifically going to collect the Empire Strikes Back line is where I really got into it. I'm 43, so I kind of missed the first line of figures, but the ESP figures, I played to death with them, and obviously Return of the Jedi figures, and I loved mine very long. I've only got I think I've got my Wampa and a couple of mini rigs and a Jabba, and that's all I've got left from my childhood collection. Unfortunately, I remember needing the money and selling them when I was in high school, probably to pay for money, or pay for a date, a date out with my.
I was exactly the same. I've got my Falcon, and I've got maybe 4 or 5 figures left, which is, it's a bit depressing, isn't it? But I remember I remember the car boot sale that I was at with my big box of Star Wars figures, and I always had a load of Generation 1 Transformers as well. And it was actually the table next to me, and the kid just kept coming over and going, I want that one. And I think every time he sold something on his table, or his mum did, he would then come over to my table and just buy all my Transformers. And I remember he'd go, how much is that one? I'll go, £2. It'd be a Mirage or something like that. And it'd be like,
So painful.
Very painful now, yeah. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the chat are in the same boat as us, aren't they? So, yeah,
That's
I mean,
right.
Empire Strikes Back. I think yeah, that was probably the time that I was getting into them. I think the first ones I remember actually buying myself was Return of the Jedi, probably around
Same.
6-7 years old, something like that. But definitely
Mhm.
had ESB figures. So, what about your actual channel then? How long have you been doing that, and what possessed you to come onto YouTube?
Well, it's a great, and people who've been on my or been to my channel, they know that my backstory. But I think I've been on now for last week was 2 years. I think that's right, 2 years, and so I'm fairly new. But the long and the short of it is that I was a pretty bad alcoholic for a number of years, and I had to get cleaned up, and so I finally did get cleaned up, and I had to figure out something to do with my time. And I had I was always collecting all through that. I've been collecting for 20 years or more now, probably longer. But I needed to find something to do with my time, something to keep me out of trouble. And YouTube was just a way to do that. I just talk about my figures and get stuff graded. I try to get more and more ridiculous with every year I'm in it, and I don't take it very seriously. I certainly love the collecting and grading stuff, and just talking about different countries of origin, and date stamps and different variations based on country and things like that. So I just got into it for fun and as a hobby, and it's been fun. It's been so great meeting people like you and all the others that all the other folks that I've gotten to know.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep you focused. I mean, often it's all I think about, is like Star Wars and making videos. It's just crazy. But you're either spending your time on Facebook groups, eBay, YouTube, making, or on your making your actual video behind the camera or in front of the camera, whichever way you do it. So I often just lie there trying to get to sleep thinking about Star Wars. I mean, it's just all that's on my mind for the past 2 years. It is a bit crazy, but it's a good way of, as you say, focusing on something to get you away from something else, isn't it?
It's work. It's my wife and kids, and then very close behind that is Star Wars. All right,
Yeah,
and
exactly,
that's all I need. I don't need anything else. That's it.
Yeah. So the channel's called Action Figure Grader, and I've got to admit that I've never actually gone through the whole process of grading something myself. It's not something I've ever done. I do want to do it, and I've got a couple of pieces that I think are worthy of grading, and vintage things, not modern. I'm just having a look around now. But obviously your channel is called Action Figure Grader, so you pretty much grade everything, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's weird. I had a very large, loose, normal collection, not graded, and it got out of control because I was going into GI Joe and Marvel and Mutant Ninja Turtle. I mean, I started having too much stuff, and I started thinking to myself, I've got to cut it down. I've got to figure out one item or one genre or one product line that I liked the most, and it was always Star Wars. So I sold everything other than my Star Wars stuff, and I started getting into graded figures just as an accident. I bought a couple, I think, Darth Vaders, just loose Darth Vaders, and a couple of carded figures, things like that. And the more I watched various channels, like Blacked Out Ewoks is probably my favorite early on, just learning about the grading process and how AFA and UKG kind of started that process and what they look for, authenticating. That's when my OCD kicked in, and I was like, okay, I love this stuff because it's fun to try and predict what items are going to get graded, what kind of grades they're going to get. And so I started acquiring some GI Joe and Star Wars stuff, and I think my very first video was, let's guess the grade of what we're going to get on these. And that's after a number of years of kind of looking at videos and learning about it and things like that. And I got every one of them right. It was crazy. I think it was like maybe 13 or 14 mint on card figures. I got every one of them right. Some of them down to the subgrades. And that's when I knew, it was like, okay, now I know what to look for. If I want something like super nice, I know what to look for. and what's going to ding the scores and things like that. And I wasn't perfect at it, but I've learned more and more. And now I just do it because I collect such oddball stuff, whether it's prototypes or bootlegs or just various kind of strange items that are just outside the norm. I like the idea of being able to present a lot of those in a way that shows that they're authenticated. It tells them what they are. I mean, a lot of the bootlegs I got, people don't even know what they are. So it's just fun to kind of show people and introduce them to kind of different areas of the collecting that maybe people don't even know about. So
yeah, I mean bootlegs is definitely something I want to come onto in a bit later. So the way I feel about grading,
sure.
I there's two things I think about it is like whenever I see something graded, I think, and I look at the price, I think the reason it's so expensive, for example, is because it's been graded. And if I was to get something in exactly the same condition, so I'm talking about carded vintage figures, for example, at the moment. If I was going to get something that's exactly the same condition that hasn't been graded, I'd get it a lot cheaper, because obviously you've got the cost of the grading process. But I think it goes further than that, because from what you just said there, it's like authenticating exactly what you're getting. You know the grade of the bubble, you know the grade of the figure, and you know the grade of the card. I've got a few that I've bought, so I've never graded anything myself, but I've got a few that I've bought. And the thing that annoys me a little bit is I can't get it out and like really look at it. It's always imprisoned in this little bit of plastic. So that's kind of the negative of it for me. But I do like the way, and I think I just said to you this before we came on air, and I like the way they present the loose figures and the way they separate the cloaks and the accessories and the sabers and stuff like that. I mean, I know you showed me. I don't know if you want to show everyone your Luke Skywalker that you've got there. I know you've got a whole range of Luke Skywalkers there, but this is going to be a ridiculous collectible now that you're going to show everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've got a couple of fairly rare figures, and this is a good example of one that I think should always be graded, and that's a double telescoping Luke. I've got two of these. One of them being a unmarked engineering prototype. But the problem with these double telescoping Lukes and why Kenner stopped making them early on is because the saber filament on the interior is so thin and so fragile. So, and I've seen many collectors in many of the Facebook groups who have had these just loose displayed, and it tips over and that filament will snap in half. So it's a for especially for rare items, I think it's. I take it to the extreme. I know that. I mean, I grade everything just because I like the presentation. I like, being able to stack them and rack them. I like, showing, what score it got, things like that. But something like this, I think for sure should always be graded. But that's just my personal opinion. But there's lots of folks out there who don't like grading, and I get that. I mean, it can be expensive. Everyone's got their own budget. So
your Luke's there. Is that a bit of a focus for you? Is that some of the first ones you got done? Because you've got many, haven't you? How many have you got there? Like what?
10 I got 10. I got 10 Farm Boys. One of them is a Hungarian bootleg, which is fairly difficult to find. In good shape. The rest of them are all various countries of origin. And so that this is like, for example, a dark-haired Luke. You can see how dark his hair is there.
Yeah.
And many of these I bought already graded. Just when this was very early on. And this one is a tougher one to find. It's a very, very dark hair. There's a light brown hair and then the very, very dark hair, which I believe was on Empire Strikes Back cards. And I got
I love what they do there with the thing on their shoulders, keeping them in place. There's something about a graded loose figure that I like. I'm gonna have to do it one day. I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
The cases themselves can vary depending on UV protection. Like something like white, like a Luke. These sun fade over time. They get yellowed over time.
Right.
So it's nice to have some UV protection, especially if you got them displayed in a room where. Now, see, I'm a vampire. I try to keep out all light as much as possible. Because I'm a vampire. I hate sunlight, but I got to have some sunlight, some windows open occasionally for my wife. But it's nice to have some kind of UV protection for a lot of those rarer figures or white figures, especially like stormtroopers and Hoth stormtroopers, things like that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean this room here, I've just got a blackout blind, and it never gets open, unless I, like in the evenings maybe when it's dark and I want to get some air in here and I open the window. But during the day, that blacked out blind is down all the time. I don't want any sunlight in here at all.
I think that it depends on the collector too. There's very much a camp that doesn't enjoy grading or doesn't enjoy the fact that graded items sell for significantly more than ungraded items. And the way I look at it is it's the same with like baseball cards or vintage cars, that have been thoroughly inspected by these experts. There's tiers of quality, and some people care about that stuff. For someone like me, maybe who enjoys trying to find extremely mint items and making sure they're authentic, then I like to have it graded. I probably take it too far. I know I take it too far sometimes, but I think that because the Star Wars figure industry, especially the vintage Kenner items, because a lot of those have, the demand is there and the values have skyrocketed so much, it's unfortunately attracted a lot of nefarious customers. So there's fake cards, there's reseals, there's fake blisters. There's the Toy Tony scandal from, early, I think it was 2013 or something, where he was taking overstock parts and reassembling them, and even those passed the muster with AFA, which that was a mistake on their part, and UKG too. But for me, I think that if you are a collector of mint on card or really rare items, I just think the risk is so much higher. Like for a vinyl Cape Jawa, for example. I mean, many fakes out there, and
if you want the real thing,
Lily Letty Jawas. I mean, fake hoods. There's just a lot of nefarious customers. So for me, especially with the higher end items, I think it makes sense to either buy already graded or to get from someone you really trust. So, but there's both sides to it. A lot of people disagree with the grading industry, and I understand that. I don't. A lot of the disadvantages or negatives that are thrown out about the graded figure industry, I understand, and I don't necessarily disagree with some of it.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying about the double telescoping lightsaber there being ultra thin, I even saw on, I think it was one of the selling sites today, an Obi-Wan Kenobi, Old Ben, and they were selling it with the blue lightsaber, but like 4 mil of it or whatever had been chopped off, but they still had it. And the grading company had separated it in the thing. So you had the saber with the bit pulled out and then the little bit that off, just to prove that it was still there. It's like, what? This is just getting crazy. I didn't hang around to see how much it went for, but I'd imagine it went for a lot of money. Yes.
Yeah. Those rarer items, that can go for, I mean, an AFA 85 double telescoping Kenobi sold last year, I think, for almost $30,000. So, I mean, it's just, the numbers have just gotten out of control. So for a lot of those, and the problem is there's a lot of that, kind of fake stuff. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone in the chat, if you've just joined, there's now nearly 90 people in the chat. So
90. Wow, we're popular.
So this is John from Action Figure Grader. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, he's about 850 subscribers. I'd love to get him to 1,000 in the next couple of weeks or whatever. So if you haven't subscribed to his channel, please do, because it is worth watching. He's got an incredible collection, and we're going to get onto bootlegs in a minute, because I love your Instagram, because every time I go on Instagram and I see one of your posts, I see something and I think, what the hell is that? It's like this. Sometimes it looks like a melted TIE fighter pilot or something, and but it turns out that it's like some majorly rare Polish or Mexican bootleg or something. So just tell me what is it about that? Because obviously it's easy to see why somebody would want to go back to 40 years ago and pick up the things that they had when they were a kid or whatever. But this whole bootleg market. I mean, there's like a really nice book that's been made about Polish bootlegs as well, isn't there? So there's definitely a huge market for it. So how did you sort of get into that, and what is it about those? Because it's not for me, I must admit. I mean, unless it's the Bosks, which we're going to look at in a minute, and those Oratet Bosks you've got there. But what is it about like Polish bootlegs that you like so much?
Well, it's interesting. I consider myself very much a newbie when it comes to bootlegs, because I joined. There's a Facebook group on the bootlegs, and a lot of those guys have been doing this for 20 years plus, 30 years, and they have just incredible collections that completely blow mine out of the water. So I want to get that out there, that while I do collect bootlegs, my collection is very novice compared to a lot of those guys. But I love the history of a lot of these figures. Bootlegs were made, they're unlicensed figures that were made in countries where either the population was too poor, or because of politics back in the 1980s, they weren't able to get their hands on the licensed Kenner products. So, right. For example, Poland, Russia, the Cold War in the 1980s made it impossible for them to have any access to the licensed Kenner products. But they loved the movies. The population loved the movies, if they found out about them. So a lot of bootleggers in those countries, Mexico because of poverty, Turkey, I would assume because of politics. A lot of those bootleggers made some of them high quality, some of them not so high quality bootlegs of the licensed figures. And so there's a whole subgroup of people that only collect the bootlegs. I'm kind of half and half. I've got about, half licensed and half bootleg, maybe 3/4 licensed. And I just fell in love with kind of the weirdness of them. They're just so many different countries that make them, from Brazil to Argentina to Mexico to Poland and Russia and Turkey. So all of those countries have their own kind of spin on Star Wars figures, and some of them can be quite valuable, such as the Turkish Uze figures, which I pulled down one. This is an overstock Turkish Uze bootleg of a AT-AT driver, and the Turkish bootlegs were actually known for being very high quality and very similar to Kenner products. But this one was never assembled. It was probably put together about 1988, I think, when the Turkish company called SB Products was going out of business. And so the arms are still on the sprue, and the body's never been factory assembled. So this is one of my cooler ones, because the Turkish bootlegs in general are very, very high quality. You can see the internal pieces there, how they're very similar to the Kenner products, but they're 100% bootlegs made in Turkey in about 1988 by a company called SB. So that's one of my rare ones. And the Mexican bootleg.
I saw you had another one where you've like got. I mean, you had like an Ewok. Was it Paplu or Romba or something? You had in pieces.
I did. Yeah, that one is. Yeah, that one's a Lily Letty. That one's a Lily Letty.
Right. Oh, okay.
That one, yeah. So this is made in Mexico. This is actually a licensed product, but it was never finished. So this is like an overstock, non-sonic welded Paplu. So made in the Lily Letty factories down in Mexico for Kenner, for the U.S. market. And it was just never painted, never assembled. And so I sent this one in. I got this from my buddy Stanley, and it's the overstock Lily Lettys. They were kind of boxes and boxes of these things were found over the years by collectors down there, and so they make their way onto the market fairly often. You find them pretty regularly, but they're pretty highly sought now, just because it's an example of the snapshot of Lily Letty's history as they were going out of business. And I mean, some of the figures were assembled incorrectly. You probably saw my Luke Bespin head on a Lando skiff guard body. I mean, all kinds of weird Frankenstein figures like that. So I try to find weird stuff like that tells a cool history about the Star Wars action figure, universe back in the 80s. Everything from the Genesis, from early prototypes, all the way to the standard licensed figures, the standard carded figures, to the bootlegs, to the overstock. And, there's just so many cool little genres out there that you can, it's pretty limitless in terms of collecting. So I try to do, I don't focus only on one thing. I just because I think there's just too much cool stuff out there,
Yeah. Well, I didn't know whether it was because you've like got everything you want in terms of the vintage
No.
real stuff, and then you're like, right, what can I do now? I'll just go for bootlegs because there's nothing else for me to get.
No, you know what? My collection's actually not that big. I mean, I've shown. I mean, compared to some folks, I get stuck on. I might get stuck on Luke Jedis for a week or a month, and so I'll buy a couple of Luke Jedis and get them graded, and then I'll switch gears and go to IG-88. But there's many holes in my collection. I don't have everything, and it's I don't even have like some very standard figures. So, but the way I look at it is there's a lot of time, and I'll get to them eventually. It's just I get stuck on right now. You probably saw my Instagram. I just got like a die cast Japanese model kit. That was made in Japan, and it's factory sealed. It's just kind of a cool, weird thing that's licensed. It's a licensed product, but it's 38 years old. It's just kind of a weird thing to add to the pile.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would like to branch out into other things like that, but there's just so much more for me to get because I always try and balance modern with the vintage, and I
never really got into modern.
No, but I used to collect the vintage years ago when eBay first started, because I remember eBay came along. It's like, what's this? People are like, it's like an online auction between people. This is brilliant. And I was getting a lot of stuff from America. Brian's Toys was big on eBay, even back then. And I remember buying a few carded figures and stuff, and I had them in my collection. But when I got married and bought a house or whatever 10, 15 years ago, they just had to go, so now over maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I kind of started again. And that's why I like the vintage collection, because it mimics the vintage figures, so I don't really collect the Black Series particularly. I might buy 1 or 2 that I like. I don't really have any of the other lines of 3.75 inch figures. I don't really go for the 5POA stuff. I don't go for the kiddie stuff in the stores or whatever. I solely go for what looks like the vintage stuff, but in modern form. And of course, as much vintage as I can get that I can afford at any one time. So I sold all my Lego recently. I had a load of Lego Star Wars I accumulated over 10, 15 years. And I'm off. I said to the guys in my little Twitter group of collectors, I said, I'm going to sell all my Lego to get enough, like a big clump of money where I can actually go and buy something really like nice, big, maybe something's like £1,000 or something, which is a lot for me to buy on one item.
Oh yeah.
I could justify spending it because it's not me dipping into like savings or money that I should be spending on my kids or whatever. It's money that I've generated from other stuff that I've got. And my missus was absolutely fine with that. And that money's still sitting there because I haven't seen. I'm after a Boba Fett Blue Sky, the desert scene.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
I want one of those, but I just can't find one in the condition that I want it. I've seen battered ones come up and whatever, but I want something really nice. And so that's where I'm at with that. But great. Yeah, other weird stuff that you've got. Do you want to just show us those Bosks? Because I know.
Sure.
I know that the pink one, I think a lot of people may have seen this pink one. So for everyone out there, this is a Russian bootleg, am I right? Oratet Russian bootleg of the Power of the Force Bosk, and it's pink, neon pink.
That's right. Yeah, hot pink. He's made for the 80s, but yeah, this was actually made in the late 90s or early 2000s, and I did a very quote unquote in-depth video about the entire Russian Oratet line. I don't have everything, but I got a lot of them. But this is the most common. You can find this, on eBay, $25 to $30. And so the Oratets started with a silver AT-AT driver in the late 90s. And then when the Power of the Force line came out by Kenner in the mid 90s, I'd say like the late 90s or early 2000s, they started making Power of the Force 2 mold figures. So this is the Bosk, and that is basically mimicking. This is a licensed version of the same figure. This is a first shot prototype, so it's an unpainted example. But you can see how closely they approximate each other. I'm sorry about the glare.
Yeah,
you can see how closely they approximate each other. And
so, did Oratet have the molds? Is that right?
I think it's a bootleg company, so they probably just bought one of these,
and then made their own.
Yeah, and made their own, and so because it's pretty much exactly the same with some very minor differences, and but you can tell that Oratet was a pretty, they were a pretty high tech bootlegger. They had good manufacturing processes.
Yeah, because the feet move and stuff, don't they? They don't do that on the Power of the Force one. They
just plug right in.
Yeah, they plug in, don't they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I got this one actually last of the group, but the bootleg group on Facebook, a couple of guys had talked about, well, if you ever see a green one, make sure you get it. Yeah. And another guy said, well, if you ever see a metallic orange one, make sure you get it. And so, I was having trouble sleeping one night. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and some guy in Russia listed one, and it was the metallic green. And this is one of only 4 known examples in the world.
Oh my God.
Of the metallic green version. So my guess, and no one knows why. There's only so few of them. If I had to guess, though, I'm guessing that the Oratet manufacturers probably did a test run and tried different colors out, and they're like, the metallic green's kind of boring. So this was probably one of the very, very first examples that they did, and they just felt it was kind of boring because it matched the skin color too much. So they're like, it's cool, but not cool enough. And so this one was, if I had to guess, this is probably the next one they came up with. This is like a metallic orange color. You can see how bright it is. It's a really weird kind of oily sheen it looks like a purplish kind of sheen to the orange. And if I had to guess, this is probably the second one. And either they decided that this was too expensive to make because of the paint, the paint was probably too expensive, or the plastic was too expensive. So they went with a very plain but gaudy pink. And so you can kind of see the difference in the colors there. But the orange, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 examples of the orange out there known so far. And then you can see this is what the final product looked like.
So that's amazing. 3 or 4, and you've got one of them. But not only have you got that one, you've got the green one as well, where there's only 3 or 4 of them as well. So
yeah, it was just complete luck. It was my insomnia. My insomnia helped me out on that one. So, but I wanted to make sure that.
Sorry.
What's that?
Go on.
Well, I was just going to say I wanted to make sure that they were legit and not fakes. So I did send those in to get looked at, but I knew they were real as soon as I had them in hand. But
because somebody mentioned that you can get fake ones of those pink ones. You have to be a bit careful even with the pink one.
Well, the pinks can be. They're not really fake. The figures they're faked to be on the card. So like there's reproduction card backs,
right?
And reproduction staple, and so like they're stapling them onto like fake bootleg card backs. And Blacked Out Ewoks bought one, and I thought it was real. And it turns out, the expert on these is a guy named Gonzalo, who bought most of the Oratet overstock when they went out of business. He said those are fakes. They got to have a date stamp on the back to be real. So, but the figures themselves are real, but not the card backs. There's a lot of fake card backs out there.
Yeah, you haven't got one on card then, no?
No, yeah, I don't. Blacked Out Ewoks. He's got a real Yoda that's on the card, Oratet.
Yeah, I think
that one's actually legit.
I think he did a video about having the Boscon card as well, actually.
Yeah, that's the one he got as a fake. So unfortunately, but his Yoda is 100% real. His Yoda is 100% real. It's got the excise tax where the Russian government was charging the the Oratet company, and it's got the stamp on the back. So that's cool. It's real deal.
Yeah. So I just want to say hello to some people in the chat because we've been talking and that. So I just want to Jules Burt. Hi mate, another good channel out there if anyone hasn't
Jules.
checked out Jules Burt. Thank you very much. My birthday's actually this weekend, so it kind of is still a birthday stream, kind of. I just wanted everyone to say happy birthday to me, basically.
That's right. That's right.
Milk it for everything it's worth. Martin Ruskilly, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you on here. Delvian Seek, Patreon supporter. Thank you, mate. Toys of the Jedi. That's my friend Chris. He's often with me on these live streams. Paul Whiteley, happy birthday from Liverpool. Thank you very much. Dan Conley, your head shakes and expressions are hilarious. I think that's when you were showing me all those bosks because I don't think I'm funny. I don't think I'm funny all the time. It's just when you're showing me the boss, I was like, oh man. Let's have a look. Obviously, the blacked out Ewoks is in here. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, he was rather gutted about the fake boss hardback.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I remember. I seem to remember having a discussion about him with him actually on Instagram or something like that, and he was telling me that he was going to buy one, and he was just hoping that when it came, it wasn't a fake. And yeah, so it did turn out to be a fake. That's a bit annoying. Well, at least it's on something like that and not I don't know, POC boss or something.
Right.
Yeah, toxic limbs boss or something. Daniel Chart, thanks, mate. How are you? Appreciate everyone being on. We've got 91 people still, so it's good. So, bootlegs we've covered. We've covered your vintage stuff. So we're going to move on to modern now, because I know.
Oh,
I know that you.
It's my turn to shake my head. I'm shaking my head at you. This is your fault. You know, I got like. I mean, I've got modern stuff now. I never had it. I never got into it. And then I found your channel and I'm like, oh, that looks so awesome. Luke Dagobah. Oh, I want that. And now I see the Power Droid in the Luke Stormtrooper. I'm like, go ahead and buy it. Go ahead and buy it. So this is your fault. Your fault.
Yeah, I'll take it. So and the funny thing is that when you say the Power Droid and the Luke Skywalker, is that do you buy them and get sent them straight to the graders? Do you even see them before they come back in plastic?
Sometimes, yeah. So I actually haven't gotten them yet. Unfortunately, the people I ordered from, it's like they'll be here in October. So I'm like, whatever. So I get like, you know, there's a company called Big Bad Toy Store here in the U.S. that if you pay a couple bucks extra, they hand pick out like the really collector quality ones.
Oh, right.
and then they protect them and all that stuff. So it allows my OCD to, like, you know, get ones that are super mint, and then I'll send them off and, you know, get graded just to see how they look. And I just sent off my first vintage collection items about a month or two ago, and I should be having them back any day now. And I'm not getting all of them, obviously, but it's kind of fun to pick and choose which ones to get. And you probably heard, you probably saw on my Instagram, I did find on eBay the Mandalorian figure, factory error, sealed on a General Lando card.
Yeah,
and that thing went for a lot of money. It went for a lot of money, but I was like, I'm gonna get this. I have to get it. And so that one should be coming back any day.
Was it expensive, was it?
I paid actually the least amount. There's been 5 examples. There's been 5 examples found so far that I know of. I paid $265 for it, and the two after that sold for $360 and $365. So wow. I feel like I got a great deal on my $15 figure. So, yeah. But I did send that one off to get graded for sure, because I want to make sure it's not a fake. And but yeah, there's been two others that have sold on eBay in addition to the third one that I bought, and then another gentleman in the Facebook groups had 2 in a case that he opened up and found. But those are the only 5 that I know of so far that have been found with that factory error. I'm sure there's others out there that just haven't been shown yet, but it'll be kind of a cool item to have. I'm looking forward to getting that one.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got anything of like that, but I will have tomorrow, I think, because a fan of the channel contacted me, a very generous person, and basically he lives in California, and he's sending me like some stuff to help me with my collection. I mean, you'll never really get over the generosity of some people, but he said, "Oh, I want to help you with your collection. What do you need?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What do I need? I don't want to just list all these things that I want, you know." And he goes, "Well, I've got a garage full, like, of thousands of figures." And I was like, "Okay." Anyway, he suggested one thing to me, and it's the I think it's VC-15 Clone Trooper Revenge of the Sith, and the figure's upside down on the bubble. Wow.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's not something that I would ever sort of cherish necessarily, or think, "Oh, I'm gonna get that because it will be, I don't know, worth X, Y, and Z in the, you know." But to get it as a gift, then I'll happily take that, and obviously, and yeah, I think it will be something that I quite treasure in my collection. Actually, it'd be my first miss card, you know.
Oh, there's a whole subgenre of collectors that collect factory miss cards. I mean, they love those factory errors like that, upside down figures, ones that are packed without the accessories. I mean, all kinds of weird errors out there, and there's collectors that just only focus on those. So that's a really cool item that I think I would love to see that. So
he's sending me some stuff that like crazy stuff, and I won't go into it now.
I want to tell you something.
Yeah,
I want to tell you this, Tim. So I know when the wave comes out with the repacks of Obi-Wan and Anakin and Wicket, and Darth Maul, that wave, and I think it's October. So I did get a sealed case of those, and those are going off to grading. My son has claimed Darth Maul, the second Darth Maul. Blacked Out Ewoks has claimed Wicket. And when these come back from grading, I'm going to let you choose between Anakin and Obi-Wan. So I'll have I'll have your first graded, whether you like it or not. I'm going to send you one of those two graded carded figures. So,
mate, very much.
I'm starting you down. I'm starting you down the dark path.
That's awesome. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. No, I'll treasure that most certainly. Oh, mate, I'm made up. The glam shots for that wave actually came out today on Dorkside Toys, and they're slightly different. So the people that got them back in the day are going to want to get even though, because people moan about repacks and stuff, and these waves are designed, they're not supposed to be in stores. They're supposed to be fan channel websites only, and they're supposed to be for people that missed them, and just a way of getting, I think Dorkside Toys even call them the greatest or the greatest figures or something like that. I don't think Hasbro call them that necessarily, but I did notice the Darth Maul looks really good in the bubble. They've taken his hood off. That's separate. I saw that. Yeah, it's completely different, because I've got the other one. I've got the old one here, and he's got his hood on and everything. They've separated it, and it looks awesome.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
They've done the photo reel on him as well, so he's going to look. I mean, just from the glam shots, they look really good. So I'm looking forward to them. But thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Who have I got a choice of?
What's that?
Who have I got a choice of?
Oh, you get your choice of Anakin. My son wants Darth. He's a huge Darth Maul fan, so he gets the second Darth. But you can have your choice of either Obi-Wan or Anakin. Wicket's going to Blacked Out Ewoks, so you got your choice of either one. So, side note, Dorkside Toys, they are like 20 minutes from my house. So I pre-order all my stuff from them. So that's who I'm getting the sealed case of that wave from, is Dorkside, because they're in Murfreesboro, right down the street from me. So
yeah. Because I think it works a bit differently in the UK here with Hasbro UK, is that the most recent wave has only got one power droid in it, which is a bit of a,
I saw your video on that.
Yeah, because you go to the store and it just takes one person to pick up that power droid, and the next person goes in hoping to pick up all four, and they've had it because he's gone, and there's two wolves left out on the, because there's three of those. It's a bit of a weird thing, but I think in the UK they order solid cases. I'm almost certain In Demand Toys get solid cases, because they've recently restocked VCO9 Boba Fett, and they had a solid case of 8 Boba Fett's. They're restocking the Mandalorian, so I'm pretty sure that they do that over here. They get solid cases, but the ones I got, a friend of mine in the States, Jay, he sent me the wave. I paid for it, but he kindly sent them to me as they come in the case fresh. So
that's pretty nice.
Good. Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, they're mint. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, they're super mint, the ones you got.
Yeah. So but obviously I've only got the one power droid, which I've opened now. So I'm hoping that the one that I've ordered from the UK is going to be in good condition, because that one that I opened was decent. So
yeah, Dorkside will ship the carton still sealed to me, and that way I can send the sealed carton to the graders, and the graders can open it, and then I'll get the uncirculated grade on the cards. So that's kind of a cool.
Right, okay.
Which I never knew about that. I never knew about that. So now that I know that they'll do that, that I'll just order from Dorkside. I'll just get cases, and then I'll have doubles, occasionally. So
you're going to be in your element with that then, now, you found that out.
Oh, this is all your fault, man. But I'll say this though. I'll say this. We during the COVID lockdowns, my wife got furloughed. She wasn't working. She's the sugar mama of my operation, man. She makes way more money than I do, right? And nobody was. And I'm in real estate. I can't show houses during COVID. It's a pandemic going on. Nobody wants to go inside somebody's house. So I couldn't spend any money. And you can't put eBay purchases on my credit card without my wife getting mad at me. But I realized I had so many credit card points. I'd never used them in like 7 years. And so I was able to use all those credit card points at Dorkside Toys to pre-order all of these vintage collection items. So it's all your fault combined with COVID. So now I'm set. I've got I got the next 4 waves ordered. It's awesome.
Well, don't tell your wife it's all my fault. You've got to take the rap for it.
You're taking blame though. We are. So.
Well, it's a good thing to collect, man. I think I mean, everyone knows I love the vintage collection, and
they're amazing. They're amazing.
You've behind you there. You've got the Slave 1 graded already, and the TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
You've had that TIE Fighter signed, have you not?
It is. So the TIE Fighter is. I'll pull it down. The TIE Fighter is actually signed by Colin Cantwell, who was the original concept artist on the original Star Wars film in 1977. That's awesome. And he designed the TIE Fighter, the X-Wing, Star Destroyer, and the Land Speeder. So I got this. This is gigantic, but I did get the autograph authenticated by James Spence Authentication, and then I had the whole thing graded. So it's completely ridiculous, but I'm a ridiculous person, so it's perfect for me. It's perfect for me. My wife's really happy about this one, let me tell you. But it's awesome. It's so big. I love it. I'm the first person. I know I'm the first person at Collector Archive Services to get a sealed Slave 1 graded. I'm probably the first person in the U.S. because nobody else is stupid enough to do this. But I did. I got the vintage collection Slave 1 graded, and it graded at as a 90. I'm considering it done. I can't afford the Kenner. I mean, that's like $1,000 or more. So this will do just fine. It's a really cool item. I fell in love with it after watching your video on it, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grade that.
Yeah, that video did really well, actually. I mean, you can. I mean, over here you can get a decent vintage Slave 1 Palatoy for probably the same price as that thing. 130, 140 quid. No, not sealed. Not sealed. No, I know you'd want it sealed. Yeah, no, not sealed.
Well, it's I would definitely. Well, it doesn't have to be sealed. I mean, if as long as it's unused, you can grade it like your Scout Walker that you bought. I think it's the Buy Logo Scout Walker. Like yours, where it's unused and the sticker sheets and all the inserts and all that are still. You can send items in for what's called qualified grading, where if it's not been used but it's opened, and I'd be cool with that too. But I mean, gosh, even an unused, open box one over here, it's crazy money. It's like went for like $750 the last one, and that's ungraded, opened. So
they're quite common over here. The Palatoy ones are quite common. I mean, obviously most of them have got the stickers on and things like that. Yeah. But you can often get like a really good example of one, that's virtually unplayed with for a reasonable price, and often the boxes seem to be in pretty good nick of that particular vehicle as well, which is good. I just want to shout out David Sutherland here for the super chat. I do appreciate it, my friend. Happy birthday from Amelia and Charlotte. Thank you very much. Do appreciate the support. Mando Mike, single.
Never get a complaint with.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm quite lucky in that I had this question, I think it was on my last weekend's Q&A video, what my wife thinks of all of this, and I'm quite lucky that she sort of just leads me to it. I mean, when I first met her, I had my computer. I used to be into gaming and stuff. I had my PC, and all around my monitor, I had like figures, and I had the Power of the Force dewback with the Sand Trooper on it. And, she must have thought, who's this clown? But
no,
at the end of the day, she's always known, but it has escalated. I'm not going to lie. It has escalated. I mean, when I told her I was going to buy the barge, and she asked me how much
if I got that barge, I would be served with divorce papers. It's like 6 feet long. My wife would kill me. But, I'm only joking around about my wife is awesome, man. She's the one that actually bought this for me. She bought the Slave One for me. So she's, every now and again, like if I have like a birthday or whatever, she'll give me like a lot of gift certificates to like AFA or Collector Archive. And so she knows it keeps me out of trouble, and she would rather have me home rather than in jail. So she's okay with me doing it. I only just joke around about her not liking it, but I think the big items is what she doesn't like. So I think if I got the barge, I would be a dead man. I would be a dead man.
I think before I started really getting into collecting, I was often just going to football every weekend and getting smashed with the lads, and I think she'd probably rather have me here. So I guess that's one thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's my money kind of thing. And I, as I said before about selling all that Lego, it's the money that I put into it is often like self-made in terms of selling other things, moving things on, dealing here and there, not drugs, but, toys.
Right.
Just doing that sort of move, having something for a little while, moving it on, getting a better example, all that kind of, everyone's the same. Everyone does the same thing, don't they, really? That's why
I think at one point I had like 85 mint on card vintage GI Joes, all AFA graded. And when I decided to focus on Star Wars, I sold all of that. And it was a pretty substantial sum of money. So I plowed all that back into Star Wars. And I do trades and I do sell stuff. I try not to gouge people, but I do sell stuff either on eBay or just through friends. But you gotta keep the kitty full, so to speak. So I stay on a budget. That's the key, is staying on the budget. Whenever I get off of a budget, that's when I get in trouble. So
yeah, and people have asked me as well, like, if you, because the value of vintage collection at the moment, I don't know if you've noticed, it's just going silly. And
crazy.
a lot of my figures I've purchased in the last 2 years. So for example, I probably paid £40 for Luke Dagobah.
And I paid double that. I paid double that.
So this is it. But and I think one of my friends, he might be in the chat somewhere. He's selling a lot of his vintage collection at the moment because he's buying what he considers as grail items for his vintage stuff. So stuff that he might not have been able to afford before, or sort of justify spending the money on. He's selling vintage collection stuff that he bought for 10 quid a figure, maybe even less, some of them, in clearance or whatever. I saw one of them go, I think it was Jango Fett. I think he sold Jango Fett for 120 quid.
No, I believe it.
Now,
I believe it.
Unpunched. But I bought that for not too long ago. I probably bought that about a year ago for £30.
Crazy.
So, but people, but like, I'm not, and I worked it out. If you sold all of the first 115 vintage collection figures, so VC01 to VC115, Dengar to Darth Vader, there's some in there that are a lot more than others. Some of them aren't, one or two of them are only worth like 20 quid. But I worked it out on average, and I was being conservative with it. And I think I got to something like £8,500 if you were to sell the lot now. And that's probably not including the two Revenge of the Jedi mini cards of Salacious Crumb and the Mouse Droid. If you want, I'm sure you'll probably pick those up at some point and grade those. But
just to be ridiculous, probably.
Yeah, they're the sort of things that you should get graded, in my opinion, because they're like they're like hen's teeth in really good condition. But if you had all that money, then what could I do with vintage? But then maybe I'd get into the realms of, as I say, getting some really expensive stuff, and you might have like, I don't know, 8-10 really nice things when I did have 115.
Right.
So it's kind of like sort of I'm trying to do both, which is expensive, because I love vintage stuff, and I've one of the most recent things I bought was that, and it's like a box is almost mint. I could probably grade it. I think.
That's perfect.
And there's this list of stuff that I want, you know, but it's just a case of trying to weigh it up with new waves of vintage collection coming out. You know, I've ordered the Falcon because I never got the previous Falcon. Are you buying one of those?
No, I don't have the room for one. I think my wife would kill me if I got. What if I got a Falcon graded? You know what? You know how? I mean, I've got some that are that big almost, but I'm with you though. I'm with you though. I love vintage Kenner stuff. You know, that's obviously my favorite. But the prices have gotten so absurd in some cases that unless I see like a really screaming deal, or if there's something that I've been really wanting, like, you know, I just recently got a R5D4 kind of similar to yours, and the only reason I got it is because it was such a good deal. You know, I couldn't have afforded something like that normally, but if you know, I try to get like maybe one really nice vintage item, you know, once a month, once every 2 months, and then, you know, in the meantime, if I can pick up a wave of vintage collection, it's like, you know, $50 or $100, and it's just a way to keep collecting without buying one item and looking at it for the next 2 months, you know. So I'm with you though. You kind of like have to balance both modern and vintage, especially now. So,
and then you've got bootlegs in there as well, because you've got to balance as well.
I mean, the bootlegs are crazy. I've had to quit. I mean, I've had to kind of almost quit buying bootlegs. There was a Mexican bootleg that just sold in the group yesterday for $1,250. It's a, you know, just a Mexican. I can't afford that. I mean, it's just crazy for one bootleg, and it was rare, but I mean, I'll get like a $50 bootleg, maybe.
But that's the thing. You say that's the weird thing about bootlegs, because I would look at that and think it is absurd, the price, but I wouldn't. I would know why someone would pay for it, because it's obviously rare or whatever, and they're into that sort of things. But for me, I'd look at that and go, oh, I could probably get a really nice tri-logo Gunner Luke Farm Boy for that, you know. And so then what do I want? I'd go that every single time, you know. But that's what I mean about bootlegs. Some people maybe have got so far in their collections that they're moving to bootlegs because they've got nothing else. That's why I asked you if that's was the case with you.
Yeah, no, I'm one of the few weird ones. I mean, most of the bootleg guys that I talk to, they don't collect any licensed stuff at all. I mean, you know, most of the big heavy hitters, they don't care about licensed stuff. They only collect bootlegs. So I'm one of the weird few in that group that collects some of each. And
so do you think they're in it? Are they like proper like dealers? Are they in it for the money? Are they in for like moving things? They still love really. Star Wars.
Yeah, oh yeah, they love Star. I mean, a lot of it's just they just gravitated towards the bootlegs because of whatever reason, and they like the history of them and things like that. And I mean, I'm sure some of them resell stuff. I mean, they're always reselling stuff, but they're not in it for money, really. It's just amazing, though. God, I mean, like the prices on some of those, like Uze Blue Stars, you know, the Hallstar. I mean, you know, carded ones, $10,000 plus. If that's cheap, you know, it's $30,000. It's crazy. Yeah,
because I mean, I've noticed that vintage Star Wars, the prices are just going silly. I mean, a lot of the Facebook groups are doing like live stream auctions and stuff, and you can tell why they like to do them, because some of the prices people are paying for like a loose TIE fighter pilot or something like that, and you're thinking, Christ, when did they suddenly become that expensive, you know? And it's the modern stuff as well, you know. Even in
the VC groups. I mean, I've seen some of the prices in the VC group, the vintage collection groups.
So do you think is it down to the virus? Is it down to the fact that people are, because I would have thought it would have had the opposite effect, where people are like maybe worried about their jobs and they're sort of becoming inward with their money and just sort of saying, you know, let's just chill out for a bit and see how things go. But I think people are bored at home. I mean, I've seen memes and stuff on Instagram where they've said, you know, my collection room before the pandemic and now, and it's like 4 figures on the wall, and then the next picture is like just like a room full of stuff, because people are bored and they might be on furlough. I don't know whether you have furlough over there. I didn't even know what the word furlough was before this pandemic. And then all of a sudden everyone's on furlough. So they're getting paid 80% of their wages for doing nothing, sitting at home bored. not having to use petrol to go to work and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, here, my wife got furloughed, and that's not getting paid. Stay at home. It depends on where you are, but I think you're right though. I think a lot of it was not going out money, no vacation money, airfare money, gas money, all that, and combined with boredom. I mean, here, the government was giving, COVID checks to unemployed and to people not working and things like that were actually more than what they were making working. And that's why the unemployment for, at least here in the US, is still relatively pretty high. I mean, one of my family members, he's making like almost double just collecting those unemployment checks than what he was making working. And that makes 0 sense. So it's just, so there's a lot of free cash flow, but I'm with you. When all this first started, I'm like, I am not buying a thing. I'm going to use my credit card points on vintage collection stuff, and I'm going to sit back because I was too scared about it. But now it's like, I see certain areas of the collecting prices that have flattened, but in general, if it's high grade and if it's mint and if it's rare, the prices have just, they blow my mind. It's crazy. I see some stuff sell in the Facebook groups, and I'm like, well, there's one of those on eBay right now for 20% less, and it's gone. It's sold on Facebook, but it's 20% less on eBay. Exact same item. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and I don't want to be too hard on some of the Facebook groups, but what I have also noticed in one or two of them is that it's the same names that are buying everything, and there's two particular names. I'm not going to name and shame them on the live stream, but there's two particular names in the groups that I go on anyway, where as soon as something's up, claim it's gone, and I'm thinking, you can't be buying this much stuff for your personal collection. You're looking to move that on or something, flip it, which is a shame, isn't it? Because the people that run the groups, and these are groups where the people that own the group are the only people that sell stuff, so it's like a side business for them rather than a free for all where everyone gets to sell their own stuff. And I had a bit of a chat with one of the guys saying, what's going on, but I guess it still is fastest finger first. You've got to be, if you want something, then you've got to claim it as quickly as you can. But it does get frustrating that these people seem to be jumping in and just buying everything. And I don't know if you're experiencing that or not, but
yes, I am. And I can tell you too, that this is a big reason why there is a larger contingent of folks who don't like grading, because a lot of those names that you're mentioning, they'll buy them up especially if they're mint or, mint on card or whatever, they immediately flip them over to UKG or to AFA. And then next thing you know, maybe 2 months from now, you might see the same item, except it's graded now, and they're going to be wanting, 3 times what they bought it for. Yeah. So there is, unfortunately, the business side of it that can frustrate a lot of buyers. And I'm with you though. I see the same names claiming the same groups. Oftentimes I just lurk in those groups because I don't expect to even claim in time or, that kind of thing. No. I do like the Deal or No Deal group. I think is a great group.
I saw a post that somebody put in another group, and in this group they do Make Me an Offer, so it's MMAO instead of Deal or No Deal, and they're saying, what does everyone think of the Make Me an Offer way of doing things? And a lot of people are just saying, well, it's just an auction, isn't it? If the seller knows the price that they want for it, why are you making people bid? And the seller should have a obligation, I think, this is my opinion, they should have an obligation to, if they're going to post something, excuse me, if they're going to post something, then they should hang around on Facebook for those offers to come in so they can immediately say no. Because what ultimately I see happening is that someone will go 200, and the next person will go 240, 260, 280, and it ends up being an auction.
No response.
And it's like, well, hang on a minute. Where's the person saying that 240 wasn't enough? Now they're just sitting there just watching it, going, this is good. I'll just wait for. Oh, look, a couple of other people have tagged some other people in. I'll just wait for them to come in and then. Do you know what I mean? So, but then
there is a little bit of fishing.
But then they were saying, but it really works in the Deal or No Deal group, and I'm in that Deal or No Deal group, and I've never actually bought anything in there because a lot of it is in the States. I find very few times have I seen somebody actually selling something in the UK, which kind of makes it easier for me, cheaper. You got import and taxes and all that kind of stuff. So, but in terms of the prices, I mean, are we at that point now then? Because people have bought all this stuff for that price, so they're not going to sell it at a loss, are they? So the market bar has been raised. So is that it now? It's never going to go down. I mean, obviously certain items fluctuate, but in general, the vintage Star Wars market is up here, and that's where it is to stay. Do you think?
Yeah, I think you raise a lot of really good points about Deal or No Deal. I do think that certain sellers are just using it for fishing expeditions to see what their item's worth, and they don't really want to sell it. But I've also found that if you're in there long enough, at least for me, I've found sellers that I know are trustworthy that don't try to gouge people. And oftentimes, a lot of these sellers, they've been collecting for 20 years. So in their minds, a lot of their prices that they're willing to take for certain items are quite a bit less than I think that they would sell for, elsewhere. I mean, I just got that 20-back Death Star droid, and it's a nice one. And to find that on eBay, I would have paid, almost 50% more. So there are some deals in there, but I agree with you that a lot of the flaws that you mentioned, the fishing, there's a lot of negatives to it.
One of the sort of the counter arguments to the people saying, it's just an auction, was that some people don't know what the value is. Like for a particular obscure item, they don't even know how to value it,
Right.
But they used to post it to the admins and say, can you value it for me, and then they'll all sort of agree on how much it's worth. But they don't seem to do that anymore. They just seem to. So that's what they were saying. They were saying, as a seller, the reason I like Deal or No Deal is because I don't really know how much it is, and I don't really know what I want for it. So let's just see how much someone's willing to pay for it. But then I also think at some point, I could just go 50 quid. They're not going to accept that. So they must have a figure in their mind at some point, or they just wait for it to see how far it goes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the latter. I know of many transactions involving like first shot prototypes and very rare multi-$1,000 items where they'll just let it run, say no deal, and they'll see how high it gets, and then oftentimes they'll contact the person who had the highest bid last and say, "Hey, I'll sell it for that if you want to do it."
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fishing going on. So there's, I don't know, no format's perfect. I mean, eBay, you got shill bidding, right? I made a video about that with a lot of unscrupulous sellers creating fake accounts to bid up their own items on false accounts, and that does happen a lot. So every format, in my opinion, unless you got just a flat, here it is for sale, take it or leave it. There's negatives, but I have found good deals, and I've also seen shady practices, and no matter what's going on, it's just it's hard. It's hard with when you got a multi-billion-dollar hobby out there, So between the modern and vintage, of course, I mean, there's so much money that it's going to attract a lot of scumbags.
Yeah, so. That is true. Liam Ross has just said, "Do I have VC61 the prototype Boba Fett?" Yeah, I do. I have him loose because I bought him in the Black Series 3.75. So if you ever want that figure loose, that's the way to get him. I'm just looking on my wall where he is, but yeah, I have the carded one in the white box. Yeah.
Do you have everything now, or pretty much everything?
No, because there's some that I just I'm not really interested in. So, off the cuff, for example, there's a expanded universe figure called Nonamore or Monomore, something like. It's just not. He looks like Skeletor. It's not You know,
He does.
I'm not massively into the books and all that. I've read a few of them. I like the stuff, ultimately, the original trilogy, and I love the
We
prequel
need
trilogies
Thrawn.
as well.
We need
Sorry?
Thrawn. We have to have
Yeah.
Thrawn.
We do need Thrawn, yeah. So no, there's still a few that I need. Some of the more rare ones, which that I've just decided that I probably will never own, like Ahsoka, for example. But again, but the Clone Wars. I mean, as much as I love the Clone Wars, I never really collected the animation line of them. They don't, you know. But the Luke that's coming out on the reissue and the Obi-Wan, the way they're done in the realistic style, and the wolf that's just come out with a realistic, that's cool. I like that. The Ahsoka figure still looks a little bit cartoony, and it's not. I'm not paying 250 quid for a Ahsoka figure. You know, it's just not going to happen.
It's crazy money.
So yeah, there's still a few, but there's not many. I probably need about 15 of them. But I probably only want about 8 of them. There's 4 or 5 I just don't really want. Yeah. And also I have a space issue as well. I've only got another sort of 20 that I can get up on the wall, and I've already got a load of them in star cases down here ready to go up. So it's getting to that stage now.
Well, just give me that you know, I can help you with your space. So just send me your AT-AT Commander Palatoy. That, you know, that'll, I'm happy to take that off your hands anytime you want. I love that one.
I just had some shelves put up. Actually, I'm going to do a room tour video. This is one of my favorite pieces, actually.
So awesome. I love it.
I love Palatoy stuff, and any excuse to show it off.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find the ESP Palatoys. They're not easy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Attack Commander is one of the more common ones. I think I paid $280 for it. I think, I can't remember.
Wow. That's a good deal. There's one on eBay. There's one on eBay for like 4 times that.
It was a good deal. Well, I mean, I bought it before the whole thing kicked off as well, so I'd imagine it's gone up in value just from the 3 or 4 months I've had it. You know,
easily. Yeah, easily.
But yeah, Black Tat Ewok says there. Yeah, so I've got her loose because I got her in the Entertainer 3.75 Black Series, £3.75. But the carded one, I ain't paying 200 plus. No way.
It's crazy.
Where do you get those star cases in the UK? I get them from Ian's Display Accessories, and I think he is actually in the US. But
yes,
so he's closely linked with GW Acrylics, which is where I get all my acrylic cases from. So he sells all of the GW acrylic stock to the US market, but he also has all of the star cases. But I'm pretty sure they're UK based, because when I order them, they literally
the
come
risers.
In like 3 days.
The risers that I got in behind me, those are all GW acrylic or Ian's Display. I really like those.
These things.
Yes.
Yeah, that was from GW Acrylics. Yeah. Very, very good value. I mean, you know, you buy a boxed Scout Walker or whatever for X amount of money, and then you have to put it in acrylic, and it's another 30 quid or whatever. You're like, oh, but cheaper than grading it, isn't it?
That's a beautiful item, though.
But yeah, Playster 101, that's where I get them. So he's only on Facebook. So if you go on Facebook and look for Ian's, and Ian is spelled IAIN. So Ian's Display Accessories. He has all your star cases that you need. Antonio, happy birthday, boss. If you ever fancy some indoor karting, hit me up on Facebook and I'll sort you out. Where are you from, Anthony? Where are you from? I love indoor karting. Tim, do people use UV pens to mark up their figures when graded? That's one for you, John.
So they do both AFA and I assume UKG and Collector Archive Services. They do use UV lights to check for paint touch-ups, to check for ink marks or ink touch-ups on the cards. And that's the easiest way to spot it. And that's a very common practice because it happens a lot. I mean, sometimes I see stuff on eBay. I can, even without the black light, I can see where they've tried to touch it up and sell it for ridiculous prices. So it's, another example of all the, scumbags out there. But yeah, that's how they do it. They use UV light.
Papa Gord, the Canadian Santa Claus, happy birthday. Papa Gord, he's got a good channel. Everyone out there, if you want to check out his channel, he's got a decent channel. Busby, thank you. GeForce Racing 20, will we ever get a quality vintage collection of SARS Ventress? Oh man, I hope so. I love that character.
Me too.
Should be cool. Yeah, now the Clone Wars is back, you'd hope that they'd revisit some of the characters that weren't in the series 7. You'd hope that they would,
like Savage Oppress, or like some of those.
He's in Leeds, but depends on your location. We have sites all over. Yeah, there's one near me in a place called Lancing, like Lancing Industrial Estate. That's near where I live. That's the one I've been to anyway. It's pretty cool. It's on like 2 levels. Decent racetrack. So we've got 115 people watching, which is awesome. So thank you amazing. Very much. I'm trying to think what my record is actually. I think it was 137, I think. But yeah, 115 is awesome. So Anthony, I think it is Team Sport, yeah. So while you're here, well, I've got 117 people in. I'm here today with Action Figure Grader. He's currently on around about 850 subscribers. So it'd be awesome to try and get him to 1,000 subscribers anytime soon. I'm sure you'd like that.
I would, man. That's nice.
Totally deserves it. It's an awesome channel. Loads and loads of knowledge of vintage Star Wars. Grades anything.
That's about right. I grade my own children. If I would grade my own children, but only if they take a bath first, because I want a high grade.
Oh dear. Make them wear some nice jewelry at the time or something. So it's like got a Pandora bracelet graded or something. I don't know. There
you go.
And while I've got this many people on the chat as well, let's do a shameless plug.
Do it.
So I got these patches made. So if you want a Boss Bounty patch, they're awesome actually. I think they came out really nice.
They are awesome.
If you want one of those, hit me up on DM me on Twitter or email me or something. $5 in the US, £5 in the UK. You might want one, you might not. You might think they're crap.
They are awesome. Really cool.
My microphone just fell over, so just bear with me.
No worries.
There we go. Let's just try and hit some of the chat quickly. Jamie Brewer says, who's your favourite minor character from the Clone Wars? I like the Spider General, but can't remember his name. I'll tell you who I don't like, and everyone laughs at me when I say I don't like this guy. That's the guy with, is it Ponkrell or something? He's got the 4 arms. He's the same. Yeah. He's the same species. Yeah, I can't stand that guy. Every time I see that in Attack of the Clones, I just think, oh my, is it Attack of the Clones? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think, oh my God, the CGI is just awful. And his voice.
The prototypes for that figure, the Saga prototype, I mean, it's like $800 for one of those prototypes, because he's got a pipe. The prototype has a pipe that's coming out of his mouth, and then Hasbro said, well, we can't show a figure smoking. So they got rid of the pipe for the retail package. And so if you got one with the pipe, I mean, they're like crazy expensive. It's like, yeah, $600 or $700. It's crazy.
That's crazy. That is, I learn something new every day. I didn't know about the pipe, and I didn't know that figure would ever be worth how much?
Oh, Tim, I'm full of useless knowledge, man. This is what I do. I have all this useless knowledge, and then I have to regurgitate it onto my channel. And most people don't care, but it kind of gets it out, you know.
Super awesome Greek show. Another John. He's helped me out with sending me some figures that I've wanted from US eBay that he's I've paid for them, but he's helped me get them over here, which is awesome. So thanks, John. He's got a great channel as well. Super awesome geek show. And he says, I've got other YouTube channel patches such as the Collector's Hut, and they all look great on my convention pack. Yeah, so a lot of people like putting them on their satchels and that, sewing them on, don't they? So here it is again. It would look awesome on one of those. That's enough of that plugging now. So what are we doing for time? Hour and 20. I said I wanted to do an hour and a half, didn't I? So we've got 10 more minutes. We'll just go through the chat. Actually, before I go for the chat, if anyone's got any questions for John, put them in the chat and we'll read them out. But I do want to ask you what's next for you. Like, you know, is there like anything? I know you've got a lot of vintage collection stuff coming that's been graded, but is there anything that you're sort of on the lookout for first of all, and then anything you're looking forward to that's due to come out modern wise?
Yeah, I don't know what has been firmed up regarding the vintage collection and the Mandalorian items, but you know, I've heard rumblings, as you probably have, about a Moff Gideon and the armor coming out on vintage. I'd love to see anything Mandalorian. I'll take any of that on vintage collection card. You know, I've got the Imperial Troop Transport coming graded, and you know, that Mist card I've got. I really want to. In terms of vintage Kenner items, I don't know. I bought a couple of 20 backs here recently. I got the 20 back Death Star droid and R5D4. I'd love to get some more of those, but it's awfully expensive to when you start going down the 20 and 21 back route. So I'm pretty patient now. I mean, I used to be hyperactive and buy too much stuff, but now if I get like one pretty nice Kenner item, you know, once every month or two, then I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the vintage.
I'm after and I have been for ages, is a Luke Jedi card. I don't like the Palatoy one because for me it looks, I don't know what it is about that card back. It looks a bit plain without the Kenner logo on it, and I want the Kenner logo. And
right.
But the problem with the Kenner ones is that the bubble is often yellow, especially with that Luke Jedi.
Right.
So it's just trying to find one that I'm really happy with, and then hope it doesn't go even. And you know, obviously I'm gonna have to get it a little bit yellow.
Right.
But yeah. So that's definitely something.
I did see a clear bubble. The clear bubble Lukes usually go for about $600 or $700. They're pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's probably more than I paid for them.
You can find them, you know, with just a slight yellow bubble. I mean, I've seen them go for $200-$300, you know, pretty easily.
I'd pay that.
Yeah.
Question from Toys of the Jedi. This is Chris. So, John, any grading horror stories?
That's a really good question. If they are horror stories, they're fairly minor. But I've sent in wrong accessories, or I've had some items get broken in shipping. That wasn't anybody's fault. It was just bad luck. I've had some items get lost. I was just telling Blacked Out Ewoks. I bought a sealed 1980, whatever it was, 1981 or 1982 sealed Atari 2600 Jedi Academy game. It was sealed and it was mint. It was dead mint, and I got it for a great deal. About, one on eBay just sold for like $300, and I got mine for $75, and I was so excited about it. So I got it and I sent it to Collector Archive Services, and the U.S. Post Office delivered it to an address in Tennessee where I live, and Collector Archives down in Florida. So they delivered it to the wrong address. They completely lost it. So it's not in that I won't be able to get back. I mean, I was so depressed about that. So that was a horror story about sending something, and it was not anybody's fault. But, I've had stuff get rejected by the graders because of touch-ups, and I've had, incorrect accessories where I paid a lot of, I bought some Lily Lettys from what I thought was a trusted seller down in Mexico, and it ended up being the wrong accessories. Just silly stuff like that. Like non-sonic welded overstock figures. I thought I was buying overstock, but it was really just, let's pry this figure apart with a pair of pliers and call it overstock. So I've had that kind of stuff, but nothing awful.
Wow. Some of that sounds bad enough, but yeah.
It was bad. It was
bad. Buzz B says, is it confirmed that there will be an airborne clone trooper in the next Vintage Collection line? No, that was a mistake by Amazon. They had it listed as an airborne trooper. Maybe it was originally going to be an airborne trooper, but they changed it. It's going to be Clone Command Arc Trooper 5. So it'll be the one that you get in the 3-pack. That 3-pack, by the way, I'm guessing you're going to be getting that graded.
I've already pre-ordered it. Yeah. I've got. Yeah. I told you about that connection with that guy. So he's got me locked up.
I was going to say nobody else in the chat would have been able to pre-order that. Everyone's going to be fastest finger first on that bad boy.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Amazing, stunning. Whoever put that together knows what they're doing.
Yeah, Hasbro needs to hire that guy and put him as president
for everything. Yeah. Usual Mike, how you doing, buddy? Cheers for the happy birthday.
He's got a great channel.
Yeah, he has. The news. That's my impression. It's not a good impression.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Colin Hobbs. Colin Hobbs is the guy that sent me the picture of this Bosk custom that he made. With I should have had images prepared really, but I didn't know Colin was going to come on, so that's my excuse. But he made a Bosk in like a green rebel resistance outfit. It's awesome. Oh wow. You'll have to tell me actually, Colin, how did you make that? Was that with the Vintage Saga Bosk? Is that how you got the piece of the arms and the legs and stuff? You have to let me know. He says, question for you. Do you have any of the Epic Continues prototypes like Mongo Beefhead Tribesman?
I don't know about any of that stuff. I've never heard of it. I'm clueless. I've never heard of any of those.
Beefhead Tribesman.
He's making me hungry. I tell you that. No, I don't. I've never heard of any of that. I don't know much about customs. My buddy Stuart gave me one of those customs of Bosk in the wrestling outfit by Healy made. That's the only custom item I have.
Lee Smith, hi John and Tim. Are there any characters in the sequel trilogy you'd like to see in the Vintage Collection that we haven't got yet? For me, it seems weird we haven't got Finn. So Finn, they've got a ready-made one. I mean, I know it sounds like a repack, but the one that came in the black series is actually a decent, the 3.75-inch black. It's a decent Finn. Is there any figures that I'd like from the sequel trilogy? Yeah, there is, but there's a long list of other things I want before anything from the sequel trilogy. If I'm honest, I'd much rather have Clone Wars. I'd much rather have Mandalorian. We're going to have Kenobi stuff eventually, and to be honest, I'd rather them just get on with finishing the 96. Like the Death Star droid. We need that really badly. We need the Emperor really badly. Then there's Hammerhead. We need him really bad. Then there's figures from the prequels, which I'd have way before the sequels as well. People like oh God, Darth Tyrannus. What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Christopher.
I'm spacing. I can't remember.
I've lost his name. Darth Tyrannus. So only one Kenobi's in the chat. He'll remind me of his name. I can't believe I've forgotten it. But we need him in the Vintage Collection. The main bad guy from Attack of the Clones. We need him. There's loads before anything from the
Dooku.
Dooku. Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. What about you? Sequel trilogy, you feeling it?
Me? I mean, the only one from the sequel trilogy that I would really like to have is that little weird primate that wipes C-3PO's memory. I would love to see that one I would love to see that one. Yeah, and have him. Yeah, that's his. Yeah, I'd love to see him with it gets packed in with like the whole like contraption he's got. I think that would be pretty cool. But
yeah,
that's a ridiculous one. No, I'm with you though. I'd much rather have prequel and original trilogy stuff.
Yeah, I think they need to. The Mandalorian season 2 is coming. They need to. Oh, there's loads of characters from the first series that we still need. So they need to.
Tim, you're more plugged into the vintage collection industry and Hasbro Pulse. I mean, you're so plugged in compared to me on that. Who at Hasbro has, all they have to do is release 10 figures from the Mandalorian series. Pick 10 characters, the Ugnaught, whatever. Just release those in waves. They would make so much money. It is ridiculous. I mean, they would just kill it. I don't understand who's making the decisions over there. I mean, they would kill it.
I have a feeling that they stretch it out on purpose just to make you want it more.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, here you are, have it all, flooding it, Yeah. They want to sell you other stuff in between. That's what I think.
I see where they mix it. They'll have like a Clone Wars item, they'll have a vintage, and then they'll have a Mandalorian. If they did that for every wave going forward, that would be great. I'd be happy. Yeah,
but it's like while I'm waiting for them to give me a Queel and a Moff Gideon, I'm buying everything else vintage collection.
Wicket.
Yeah. I've already got Wicket, but I'm going to buy him again. I don't have him loose, so I will get him again and open him. I probably won't buy 2 because I've already got him. Right. But I think that's maybe why they do it. I don't know. I find it a bit weird with The Mandalorian, especially, is that we're coming up to season 2, and I don't know whether they were burnt with the sequel trilogy in terms of their figures, and they're sort of a bit worried whether something is going to be a success or if it's going to get panned completely by the community. Because we used to be used to having the figures and the characters even before the film came out often, so maybe they just don't want to get burnt, and they're just thinking, right, let's see if something really is a hit, really is a success, and then we'll smash it out the park.
Right.
Because if they had planned 12, 18 months in advance 10, 15 Mandalorian figures and everyone hated the show, then they'd be stuck, wouldn't they? So I don't know, because they can't really take Lucasfilms or Disney's word for it. Oh, this is going to be amazing, everyone's going to love this, you're going to sell so much stuff, because ultimately not everyone bought the Last Jedi stuff, did they? So
you raised a good point, though, and I oversimplify how easy it is to the production process and going through all that, all the steps of getting a quality figure and all the artwork and all that. I mean, that takes time,
Yeah.
And so I bet we'll see quite a bit though next year, though, I would think.
Oh yeah, I'm almost certain of it. They're not going to miss a trick, are they? They're, I mean, look at the wave that's, with the Armorer, Moff Gideon. There's no way they won't give us that Ugnaught, Beskar Mandalorian, IG-11. There's no way they won't do them. We just got to wait for them, unfortunately. Dewbacks, the other little blurg things, and then if they really wanted to, they could get into the more obscure characters from like that prison episode.
That was a great episode. I love that
character and the Twi'lek and all that. Because we'd buy them all. Star Wars figure fans love all the aliens and the obscure characters. So, and that's even from back in 1983 when we had all the Return of the Jedi aliens. Everyone loves those. So, if they want
that episode and the finale, that episode with the prison break and the season finale, those were my 2 favorite episodes. That was a great episode.
Yeah, I think the whole thing's brilliant. I mean, there were a couple of episodes which were a little bit filler, I guess you could call them that, but that's just the way that format is of having a series. You're always going to get that, but I enjoyed all of them but others stuck out. The finale was just blew my mind.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Dave, hi mate. I think you're right, Tim. So many figures of the sequels still on the pegs. I think they want, I think they're waiting for fan reaction. Basically, I think they've been burnt, and they can't trust now that anything Star Wars that comes out is just gonna sell. Daniel Chart says, Tim, what do you think about the Dagobah set rumor for the HasLab? Pretty tragic if it's true. I think Mike might still be in the chat. he knows better than me whether how accurate that rumor is. So I can't really comment on, you know, I can comment on how I feel about if that is what it is. And the only thing I would say is that we've already had 2 X-Wings in the last year. I don't really need another X-Wing. And I think they could pick something loads better than, there's countless things that they could do that are better than that. Saying that, I would like a vintage collection Yoda's hut in a vintage box, like a modern version.
That would be nice.
That'd be cool. Johnny Star Wars, hi mate. You are a bit late because we're probably gonna sign off soon because I don't want to keep John too much longer. I said we'd do an hour and a half and we're already at 1:35. So I think we'll just finish up on thanking everyone for coming along to the stream. We're up to 122 people.
Wow.
Awesome having you on again, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I do appreciate all the support you give my channel. Really do. Can't say it enough. And one last time, Action Figure Grader, great channel. If you haven't already subscribed to his channel, please subscribe to his channel because I find it interesting. You'll find what he shows interesting. No doubt about it. So yeah, and John, thanks for joining me, mate. I've wanted you on the channel for ages now. Managed to get you on StreamYard, get you. I know you're a bit of a technophobe, so.
Thank you so much for having me, Tim. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and you know, just thanks for giving me an outlet to kind of share how crazy I am. So.
Yeah, you are a bit crazy, but I like it. I think it's fun, man. I mean, the thing is, I think to finish up, I think like with all the crazy stuff you've got in your graded collection, from bootlegs to modern stuff that you're getting graded, which is a bit out there, but it's funny watching it. You also have like an unbelievable collection of vintage Star Wars. It has to be said, you know, for somebody to have 2 graded double telescoping Luke Skywalker farm boys, not to mention the other 8 or 9 that you've got of all different hair colors and whatever. And, you know, I've got one of them and I'm happy with one. And I can see all your Jawas and you've got an unbelievable collection, mate. And it's been really interesting talking to you. So I appreciate it.
Oh man, I've really enjoyed it too. And I always enjoy your channel. So look forward to staying in touch. So thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, we're going to go now, guys. So thanks very much for the stream. I'll do another stream and maybe next week or a couple of weeks time or whatever. But keep watching the channel, keep hitting the thumbs up, and thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you.